So, Karina, do you want to start?
Yes, sure. So, hi everyone. Nice to meet you. I am head coach Karina. I'm from Brazil, and I have been in touch with X-Culture since 2015. But yeah, I think that's it. I think you can present yourself, Maria.
Thank you, Karina. Hi, everyone. My name is Maria, and I'm from Indonesia, and I'm also head coach for X-Culture this semester. And today we're going to talk about handling conflicts in global virtual teams in X-Culture. Although this webinar is actually primarily targeted for coaches, but then anyone basically can just join in. And basically, what we are going to do here is this is more like an open discussion format. So if you have something to add, like if you have any questions or if you just want to share about something, your opinions or experiences, feel free to just say something in a message and we'll read it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that we basically choose this topic to talk about because as coaches, we have received a lot of requests for help, and we have seen this type of conflicts every single semester. So probably that's why we think this topic is relevant to be here today.
Okay. So yes. For the webinar, we will start by going through what are conflicts, harassment, and bullying, like basically a basic concept of like a general idea of what they mean here. And then we'll talk about common conflicts in X-Culture, global teams, and also the non-common conflicts. Also, we will talk about how to handle them as coaches, and then we will also discuss about detecting conflicts in X-Culture global virtual teams as coaches. And we will go through a general idea of what peer counseling is. Then maybe we can share your experiences in workplace or anywhere in real life. And in the end, we can have an open discussion. So first, for conflicts. So basically, when we talk about conflicts, in general, we are talking about disagreement between parties. In this case, members of global virtual teams in X-Culture, and it's possible that the conflicts may include threat to their needs, interests, or concerns. Anything. Basically, it's a disagreement. It's a form of disagreement, And when we talk about harassment, we talk about unwelcome conduct based on someone's identity. In this case, it could be related to race, color, religion, sex, including pregnancy, sexual orientation, nationality, age, disability, or genetic information. And also, lastly, what I want to emphasize here in bullying, when we talk about bullying, we talk about power imbalance between two parties. Could be like between two people. It could be between a group of people against a few other groups of people. But basically, it's a power imbalance and unwanted aggressive behavior. And this could be repetitive. Okay. Do you have anything else you want to add, Karina?
No, not for now.
Okay, so we can continue to talk about common conflicts, I guess. Do you have anything
sure.
here?
Okay, so now you're going to talk about conflicts that we think are common. So first of all, we have freeloading. I think everyone that has been working with X-Culture group and GVT group probably faced this type of problem. So freeloading is when someone or more than one people stop participating in the discussions. So when we are in a GVT, since we are not in touch with people like in a face-to-face interaction, sometimes people don't feel like they are part of the group, and they tend to like fail with their responsibilities. I think like the best way to try to avoid this type of problem is, first of all, try to create some connections with your teammates. So probably, let them know about you. So who you are, where do you live, what do you study? So they're going to feel like part of this. And this is the tip for the students, let me say this way. And when you're dealing with this type of conflict as coach, sometimes we just need to reach this person that is missing to understand why he or she stopped participating. Sometimes something happened and the person is upset, or the person thinks that his or her ideas are not being taken in consideration in the group. So sometimes just a simple conversation can solve this type of conflict.
Also, when it comes to freeloading, I think in every group project, it's unavoidable that someone might not participate as much as other people, and this is especially prevalent in X-Culture global virtual teams, because one reason is because like in X-Culture, people don't really see each other physically. I mean, you're lucky if you're in a team and you happen to be in the same universities, then yeah, you can like meet, or in the same town even, you'll be lucky. But then like a lot of times this is not the case. And also another reason for freeloading is due to time zones. This is also very common. This is why time zone is also actually a very common case in X-Culture global virtual teams, because like people have different time zones. It could be very hard to find a common agreement among the group to arrange meeting, or just basically just to talk. And it could lead to other conflicts, which we will discuss later. And but as coaches, like usually what we can do is, because it's so common, but X-Culture already have a system to mitigate this sort of conflict. So if someone's reloading, students, the other team members can put like low mark, and then like they can put comments like, oh, this person is reloading, and usually the system will catch that anyway. So yeah, do you have anything to share, Karina?
Yeah, you mentioned the time zone management, and I think that one thing that groups should be trying to do to, let me say, make the group environment better is to improve communication in the group. You know, so as Maria said, it's you would be lucky if you have someone like in your class being in the same group as you. But I think that's not even the intention of X-Culture. I think the intention is to work with people from like all over the world. So you have to be always like communicating what you were doing, your ideas, and because communication is very important to keep the group working together during the whole project.
Yeah, like Karina said, it's that's exactly the main point of X-Culture, that for people to collaborate internationally, virtually. So definitely communication is definitely important. Okay, so moving on. So we will now talk about the non-common conflicts in X-Culture global virtual teams.
Yeah, Maria, I think you can like put in the presentation mode.
Really? It's like, how do I do this? Is it right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, it's loading.
Yeah, I think that's much better.
Okay. So, non-common conflicts. First, like we'll talk about sexual harassment. This also includes in harassment. And this is very not common, but it happens every semester. one or two cases we have cases like this. Usually it's involves unsolicited advances and inappropriate images or videos with sexual nature. It it's bound to happen, and then a lot of times the victims don't really report it to us directly through email, or they sometimes they just put it in their weekly comments. So like that's something that coaches have to watch about. So for instance, like this semester alone, we had like one case of a girl who received advances and unsolicited videos and photos from her male team member, and that's already like considered sexual harassment. And then like as coach, when you spot this, you should immediately report to the coaching director and see if we can get this person removed from the team or from the program. You have anything to share, Karina?
Not about this type of conflict, but I think we'll talk about more about the next one.
Okay. Okay, so
yeah, here we have bullying. That's another type of we can say like conflict. Unfortunately, this type of conduct does happen. It's not so common as, for example, like the free riders that we talked. But here we have bullying as a situation where someone is like being target from the bully, who usually tries to like discredit the ideas of the person or make this person feel like excluded. And this type of situation happens not so commonly, but yeah, here we have like a power imbalance situation. And as Maria said, we have some like channels to say to executor that this type of situation is happening. So one of them is the coaching email or the weekly comments. And then when coaches receive this type of request for help, they have to take a look at the previous comments from other teammates. And sometimes it's necessary to talk with the part who is accusing someone and the other part to try to understand what's the real situation and what are the best treatments or actions to be taken.
And also about bullying that I might add, this is why this is actually related to the time zone conflicts earlier. Like a lot of times, this is not rare to happen, but a lot of times like there are teams who majority of the team members live in the similar time zone, not same country, but similar time zone. So, for example, if there are like 5 members in the team, and if 3 live in I don't know, in the continent of America, and then the other 2 live in the continent of Asia, and then like a lot of times the 3 who live in the continent of America, for example, would dominate the group decision making, and then it would leave the last 2 to feel left out because they feel like they don't really have a say in the team. And this is why communication is very important, to find like common agreement of like common time to meet and just to talk together. And there are also cases where like due to some reasons unknown, there's one member who is like whose opinion is discredited or belittled. This is bound to happen as well. Okay, and as coaches, like it's really important to take notes of this and find out the root of the causes. Sometimes bullying can be unintentional. When that happens, like it is our job to like remind them to be more fair and equal to their team members, which leads to the next conflict, which is hostile conflicts. This is also very rare to happen, but then like it might be caused by other conflicts such as like bullying or harassment. Like two members feel someone might feel like in their team feel like the team progress is being unfair. Their team members are not being fair to them, so it would lead to a huge disagreement, which lead to a more hostile situation. This case, coaches might need to step in and do something. Do you have any opinion about it?
Yeah, I think that, as Maria said, it's all these three last situations that we are talking about are very delicate. So it's important to, before taking any action, try to understand what's really going on, like for different perspectives. So Maria is gonna show us how to read the weekly comments table, but that's an important source to take a look at previous comments from other teammates, maybe, because sometimes the person who sometimes the person is saying something and the other person is saying other types of things. So sometimes it's important to take different perspectives to understand the whole situation before taking any action.
Right. So like Karina said, like I will show you how to take these cases. But this is more for coaches actually. But so I'm sure coaches are familiar with this file. But then there are more information in this file. There are like names and stuff. But then I omitted them. So usually coaches could receive this sort of file, and this is very raw. The data here is very raw and unsorted. So the first thing that we need to do, like for instance, like the teams here, they're not sorted based on teams. So if you wanna analyze the situation or conflict, it's better to sort the data based on teams, and to do that it's very easy. Like just basically just use this is why Excel is actually very powerful. Just sort the data based on E, smallest to largest, and just like that, like everyone is sorted by teams, and then like as you can see here, you can check their test results, and you can even see their weekly peer evaluation, and then you can see like the weekly comments here. And then when you receive this, I strongly recommend, instead of looking at the comments one by one,
Maria, sorry interrupting you, but I'm not seeing your screen like with the Excel. I'm still seeing the PPT. I don't know if it's just me.
Really?
Yeah, really. I think
maybe I'll restart.
Yeah, I think you need to reshare your screen.
Okay, so I have to repeat everything. It's okay. Can you see the Excel?
Oh yeah, it's working.
Okay, so this is just an example. So like I mentioned before, actually there are more information here. Actually, their names and such, but like I omit them, confidentiality reason. And then this is a very raw data that coaches usually receive every week. Like it includes their team numbers, their peer evaluation, weekly comments and such. And then what I strongly recommend is to sort this by team first to better analyze the situation. And, So you just use Excel tool here. Just use data sort by team, column E team, smallest largest, and then like we have them sorted. And then like when it's sorted like this, it's just easier to analyze the situation by seeing what other team members say, comments, and then like, but of course this is like a large amount of data and like we don't really recommend it to like look at them one by one. You can if you want, but it will take a lot of time. So like usually I'll go back to the PowerPoint. So what we recommend is to use keywords such as this to see if people type this and see if they will, if the search would come up with a call for help that otherwise would be hard to notice, because like not all students would send email to the coaching email, and so it's very useful to try to use these keywords on the Excel.
Yeah, I think other thing to look at when we are taking a look at the comments is the extension of the comments. Sometimes when people have a problem, they usually write more about the situation. They give you more details. So when you face like a very long comment, probably there is a situation that needs more attention.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, for example, like just Control F, see like help, and then there'll be like the search result. You can check the search result, see if they're actually asking for help or it's other kinds of help, or put like admin. So like admin, this is like the exposure email, and then see if they have like something to say about sending email to admin, and see if they sent email, maybe like they sent email and didn't get reply, so it's a good reminder. This is very useful. This can save you a lot of times if you use this feature on Excel. And yeah, so now okay. So now let's move on. That's just a little trick to detect conflicts. So do you have anything?
5 minutes until we have to start wrapping up, okay?
Okay.
All right.
Okay, sure. Okay, so just to finish here, we wanted to do give you some tips about peer counseling. So every time you are facing a conflict, as coach, you need to remember to always listen to the person who is like contacting you. Be empathetic. Do not judge the situation before getting more information, and always try to take notes of everything. And very, very important to keep everything confidential.
Great. And speaking of being pathetic and do not judge, like this is why it's important earlier to sort the comments based on team. So like you can check like what our team members say about the situation, and so it gives you a better picture of the situation, of the current progress in the team and the team dynamic. It will be really helpful. Also, remember that there's no universal ways to reconcile conflicts. There's really no one way to solve every conflict. So, anyone wants to ask? Do you have any questions? We still have a little bit of time for questions.
Yes, students, if you have any questions, we're going to open the floor for Q&A, okay?
Mm-hmm. Anyone wants to share their experience? Any questions so far?
Posted for 2 weeks, and the next day comes to you and says is why she or he did not participate. Is that freeloading or not?
If someone says why that someone is not participating, if it's freeloading, so lack of participation in general is usually considered freeloading. But there are cases, actually there is a one case, very interesting one. Sorry. So like there's a one interesting case that happened. There's one person who had been not participating and got kicked out by their team members, but then they said that's because like they've been working while going to school, so they like work and study, so like they didn't really have time to check their phone because they couldn't check their phone at work. So there could be many reasons of freeloading, but yeah, in general, lack of participation is freeloading.
Yeah, I think as we mentioned earlier, it's always important to be in touch with with the group. For instance, sometimes people are going through a phase of personal problems, and they will be absent that week. So, like letting the team know that this week's gonna be hard to communicate and everything. It's a good way to show that you are committed, but right now you have like other problems to solve, and the next week you'll be able to participate again in the discussions and everything. So I think it depends on the situation, but generally, yes, we could say it's freeloading.
Yeah. Any other question or anything to add? Does that answer your question?
And we have Emily who asked, how do you know if somebody's freeloading?
How do I know? How
Yeah.
do we know if someone's freeloading?
Mm-hmm.
Like as a coach or as a
student? Yeah.
I'm going to say probably as a student. How would you know if one of your team members is freeloading?
Like I mentioned earlier, like it could be not on purpose, but then basically lack of, usually like people who are freeloading, they're really hard to contact and they don't really give a good reason why they've been inactive, and basically they've just been like reaching other people's work. But then again, it depends, like Karina said, it really depends on the situation. Like when I did my ex culture, there's one girl who at first freeloaded, but then like we found out that turns out like she went to the hospital for a few weeks, so that's why she couldn't. So that's why like she didn't reach out to us.
Another important thing to consider is that the time zone management, because for instance, sometimes you ask a question and everyone is replying, but there is someone that lives like in a different time zone that it's like the person sleeping. So you have to wait a while to have an answer before considering the person's freeloading. For instance, me and Maria, we are, I think, like, Maria is like 12 hours ahead me, I think. So it's normal sometimes that she takes a while to answer me. So you have to consider this, because sometimes you are like in the discussion with other teammates and, oh, this person is not replying anything. Yeah, sure, the person's sleeping. What do you want? So you have to consider, like, give some time to the other person, take in consideration the time zone where he or she lives. So that's important.
Yeah. So for instance, like right now it's 7:40 in my place, and like in Karina it's probably like what, 9 in the morning.
Yeah, 10.
Yeah. So just because someone doesn't reply you right away doesn't mean that they're freeloading. Maybe it's just a different time zone. That's why they couldn't respond quick enough. So always leave like 1 day time frame for them to reply, 1 or 2 days, give them a chance to reply.
And we have a question. Emily, did you want to go ahead and answer or ask your question? Your hand is raised. Emily.
Hi.
Hi. What's your question, Emily? Emily, if you can hear me, I'm going to lower your hand. Go ahead and ask your question whenever, okay? Nope. Okay, so we're going to actually wrap it up then. And thank you, Karina and Maria, for your wonderful presentation. And thank you, students who showed up. And we will be continuing the webinar marathon today, throughout the day and throughout the weekend. So we will be with you guys all weekend long, okay? Thank you again, Karina and Maria.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Karina. Thank you, especially everyone who attended. It's been amazing. Thank you.